Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys, real quick.
No worries, appreciate it.
Kyle, why has you got an airplane?
Starts with some food. We'll try and get cracking so we have a lot to cover. If you do have a question or a comment, just come up to here, or if you're going to present something, come up to here and do it so the guys on the Zoom, referees on the Zoom can do it. Who does not have a Rocky Mountain coin? Great. All right, can everyone hear that? Can you hear me better on that? Is that better? Brighton, is that louder? Do I need to go there? Is that louder? All right. All right. Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks, Mike. All right. Let's just get cracking on this. We have a lot to cover, and and the main part of this was to kind of get to know everyone and do a social real quick. So there's a lot of new faces in the room. I'm Mark Nelson. I'm your chairman. This is Paul Johnson. He's also part of the EC. He's ops. We have a few guests from the GU, the Geographical Union, representing the clubs and colleges. Rich Cortez, chairman. Martin Brown, head of the disciplinary committee, and Anthony Fisher, who is the president of the GU. And then Joe, could you just kind of go up and do a quick, I'm Joe.
I don't know why my headphones aren't working.
Oh, you don't have to do that. Just in amongst the group here. Or if you want to do that, that's great too.
I'm Joe Burpo. I don't know
I'm stealing Paul's dinner.
Yep.
All right. Adam, you don't have to just stand up and say hi. Welcome, Spencer. Blaney, good to see you again. Joe, which Olivetti, great, it's good to see you. Ben, that's right. I think I taught you level 1. Russ, welcome back. Robin, good to see you again. Lucas, welcome. Mike, right? Angela and Dale, we all know and love. Yeah, there's Brendan Castro, our RDO, Don Dowling, a long lifetime member of our GU. All right, so obviously we have a bit of an agenda to get through. I'll try and rush through this. Angela and Dale will be sending out all the links in this PowerPoint and everything and the recorded message out to all the emails. So don't worry if you're not getting some of this content, it will be made available to you through the Gmails. All right. So first up on our agenda. Welcome everyone. Our kind of theme for this year is everyone be very positive and supportive, and then think of outside of the boxes to help out the GU move forward, right? We welcome all the new faces. I do have a bit of bad news. Over the winter holiday, we did lose, USA Rugby lost Peter Watson, who was a longtime performance reviewer, referee coach. He's been up to Aspen numerous times, and he'll be having his services out in Boston in 2 weeks. I just found out that Kristen Sarmento, who is a longtime player from Glendale, is no longer with us. And he was an emerging ref. He helped a lot out in Tri. So I'm just going to take a moment of silence just to remember those guys and how they contributed to rugby. Thanks, guys. Paul's going to talk a bit about Rough Up. There's a couple things. If
Okay, who here is unfamiliar with Rough Up?
fantastic.
Awesome. I don't have to go into all the intricacies. Just a couple things. First off, I know everyone wants to put in their bids and bid on multiple games to ensure that they get one. If you win multiple bids on any given weekend, cancel one of them, please. We've got a lot of refs. We want to develop as many referees this year as possible. And so we need to give equal opportunity to everyone. Okay, so if you do win multiple bids because you put multiple booths on multiple games and all that, which is fine, because you do want to ensure you get a game on the weekend. When you get it, which could be upwards of 10 days before the match, cancel one of them so that bid reopens so other people can bid again on those matches. If we have a late addition or someone cancels early, they get sick or something like that, and you see something open on a Wednesday or something like that for a game that occurs on Saturday, by all means, then you can have multiple games. But let's try to kind of spread the wealth, and spread the love, and give everyone a chance to referee over the week. Really want multiple games. There's lots to try in high school that's going to be going on this spring. So you can participate in that in the morning or whatever, and then do your higher level game when that is. But I don't have to do too much with Ref Up. If there are any questions about Ref Up, come send an email to me, and I will be as quick as possible to answer that. One other thing, what's that?
I'm failing. There we go. Sorry.
Okay. One other thing, it is a requirement of each team, not necessarily Rugby Colorado teams, but especially club teams, to confirm their match upwards of 3 days in advance. You know, sometimes these guys, they don't necessarily know where their matches are going to be. Things happen with fields, team, they decide, oh, let's play at 2 or whatever, and we're off the last people. So we require them to send you, because by that point you should be assigned the confirmation. If you have not received that confirmation by Thursday afternoon, shoot me an email. I'll send them a reminder of varying levels of nastiness depending on how repeat offender they are. Just because if they keep doing it, then don't go. They need to learn, because we've had too many instances where referees show up and the game was canceled and you guys weren't. Okay, Joe.
Come to the podium.
Team continues to,
Please hurry, expedite this.
if a team continues to not confirm the referee in time and manner, and we finally end up not sending a ref, what are the consequences to that home team?
Can you point camera to the speakers?
They'll be charged for it. And I mean, they have to learn the hard way, and then you've got 30 guys show up to a game and no ref and no game happens.
Now, vice versa, with the ref.
Then that's on us.
Then we will sanction them and deal with that.
Since everyone is already, familiar with Ref Up, are there any questions about the levels of Ref Up and how those things work? How your level pertains to what matches you see in Ref Up? Spencer, can you come up here, Spencer?
Hmm?
As long as they can hear them.
What the stages are like for games.
So that's going to be a question for your RDO, where we're developing a new process, which we'll get into here shortly, and they will you'll have like a mentor and you'll get seen. And if you're at the level to move up, then that'll be up to them maybe to promote you. Okay. There is a set of pre-match responsibilities that you guys should do. You know, we are charging clubs to, you know, perform our duties, and we're charging a good amount, and you guys are getting paid a good amount. So we need to take this job, you know, with some professionalism. So, you know, make sure you show up with all of your gear on time, if not even earlier than maybe you think, 45 minutes to an hour. Have your pre-match chat as early as possible so that you're not interrupting their flow of warming up and all of that kind of stuff, to your point thoughts. If there's a team of 3, then have your debrief with your assistant referees and make sure you coordinate with them days in advance, and maybe even chat with them about what your expectations are or whatever. But just say, hey, I would like to be there 30 minutes beforehand so we can chat for the match.
I did create, Brian Zapp created this template a long time ago, and this will be made available through the Brunos again. This is kind of updated with some links. There is no more links for the technical zone, so it's just a technical zone frequently asked question. But Anthony will cover what's required of the technical zones. Basically, the protective equipment guides are still good to go. There's a new referee abuse policy. That's a pretty lengthy policy. Everyone give that a read when you get a chance. The 21 game management guidelines. Before you start refereeing, you should probably know that back and front. I'm also trying to establish a protocol to whereas you show up at least an hour before kickoff. What I'm trying to work with Anthony is just a guideline or best practice is in your home team, you do the gear check and the gear check and the chat 55 minutes before kickoff. You go to the away team 15 minutes before kickoff. So everyone has a standard so that the teams get to know that and we don't have to interrupt their practices, their mental game, whatever. We get there, we get it done early. I don't know what was required for gear check anymore. That's up to you guys. Get the chat done. So within 45 minutes before kickoff, everything's decided. You can let them go and get ready for the game, and then you can go prepare for what you need to do. All right. There is a thing in here. It says in this PowerPoint, an AR team of 3 debrief. If you do get assigned a team of 3, I have a nice little PowerPoint. I can walk you through that, or we could do another educational project with that. But it is good to like give that to your ARs when you get confirmed. Brighton, I see that you're ARing for me today with Steve Gore. Here's a little presentation I'm going to do. This is what I need you to do. So you can have a think about it and not just, I don't have to tell you on the fly, hey, do these 16 things for me doing touch, because you're not going to remember a thing of them. So that's kind of, I have that presentation and you can modify it to your content. A lot of you did take the AR course online. Thank you for doing that. It is now monetized. So if you haven't gone back and do it, it's $15, still worthy of your investment to go and take it online. Anthony, do you want to talk about Rugby Explorer? Will Rocky Mountain be using Rugby Explorer? Okay. So there is Rugby Explorer has been rolled out, and I don't know if Rugby Colorado is doing it or not. I will find that information out. But basically, all we have to do anymore is just after the match, go verify the score and submit disciplinary reports through RefUp. Okay. And that will get to the disciplinary committee, which we will talk a little bit about the disciplinary process, right? So what they're doing is they're doing live scoring. There's a 7-minute video in here that we're not going to watch, but I will send, again, the Brunos will send out. And you can watch it, how the sausage is made through Rugby Explorer and what is required. But all we have to do is go to the home team and verify it, make sure that the person you carded is the person you carded, and then submit those disciplinary reports through RefUp. Everyone copy that? Great. Joe, Chris, Brandon, and Katie, you just come up and chat a little bit about your experiences with the camp. Yeah, just whatever. Whoever gets there first. Just a 30-second.
Great, I was the only person that went. So The people that are on the NDG and the RDG list. That's the group. So top 100 people in the top 100 referees in the country. We're expected to attend one of 3 camps this year. So the first one was anybody at Boston, Miami. So Miami, it was great. We got in on a Friday. We had else. So, so we had activation, we had conversations about interacting with CMO. I can't hear anything he's saying.
Well, it's tough to do.
Oh, now, Jim.
No.
All right.
Sorry, Jim.
And then we had Bronco, which everybody's expected to do on the Broncos. They're one of 3 windows. Great. And then we were able to add some education sessions. AR practice. So that run around, picks up, work hard, and then they blow a whistle. And one person who is nominated AR go watch a video. We've done this kind of thing previous meetings. And you go off and look at video clip, and then after next whistle, the referees come over and then go through the decision making process for you. That was done in conjunction with the MLR referees. Pretty cool because we got to work with their new development group.
Great, Chris.
Best place to
Or this one. Yeah, so awesome. Great. Longer, kind of more intimate environment. Same agenda that Joe ran through. Does that help? Agenda that Joe ran through. The 2 biggest things that I took away from the camp, that working with CMO session was ran by Amanda Cox. It was also around like selection, promotion, assignments, things like that. That kind of tied into the session that Kat Roach did on vulnerability and like self-perception. I think for both new referees and referees that are climbing the ladder, these are super important topics and something I'm working on in my own life as well. Kind of the way we see ourselves, it's really easy to get down on ourselves as referees, going out there, getting yelled at 80 minutes every weekend. So to be able to have some really cool sessions around the way we see ourselves and the way our peers see us was really helpful. I'm happy to talk about that in more detail if anyone's curious. But yeah, great camp, privileged to be a part of it.
Check.
We are hoping to have more focused discussions about what they were in future meetings, future education sessions. Just a high level.
Something you want to add real quick?
I think you can do it on Paul's.
You go right.
Sure. Yeah. Push that.
Good.
You're good. Yep. Okay. Joe and Chris covered a lot of it. 3 days worth of a lot of classroom information that was really valuable, that I think that Mike was there too, actually too, that I'm pretty excited to take some of that information, and I think it's going to translate to like multiple meetings here to work with you all and share that information to you guys. So that's like a big takeaway that I have. One additional thing was the new MLR team, Miami Sharks. They actually came into our area in Miami, and their scrum coach and their head coach did a presentation on scrums, and we got to do some banter back and forth and talk about expectations as well. So that was pretty neat. A lot of what Chris and Joe said, though, there was the CMO talking about coaching you personally and how you work with the coach and what you need as well. as an individual. The self-recognition on the little bingo card was pretty cool. I agree on the AR communication one, where we were given more of a structured framework of what to say as a center referee and as an AR. And while they were running us to a pretty extreme fatigue to do it. So that is all stuff that I just don't want to say we did it. Like, I hope and I think that's going to transition well to like these meetings, and especially in our little pod groups, that we'll be able to take some of that information and share it with you guys and do these practices with you all, so that information just didn't get stuck with 4 people. It's supposed to be for everybody. So looking forward to doing all that.
Mike, 30 seconds.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, the camp was great. I think that, starting as a referee, I didn't know that these things existed. So it was good to kind of meet people that are also very addicted to rugby, very addicted to refereeing, and it's kind of picking their brain, seeing what, seeing the higher levels and what you can achieve. Besides all the details that the other guys talked about, I thought overall it's just good to see a lot of other faces. Refereeing is a solo sport sometimes, and it was good to see other people that are working hard to kind of really get higher and higher and higher in this game as a referee. So we talked about how to do that, how to be a good referee, but not just on the field, but off the field, things like that. So like Brandon said, I'm excited to share some of the things we learned. And yeah, please pick our brains, about anything. We definitely gained some knowledge in that camp.
Good stuff. You have exchanges. We used a lot of Brazilian Aspen, or we used Aspen to get a lot of exchanges. We have 2 exchanges with British Columbia, and a couple more with Texas. So they're looking to get moving about, looking to develop that and build those relationships. One of our themes is going to be focused on coaching development. So we 2 years ago asked coaching ambassadors and asking like all this to kind of like, it's great that you go out 3-4 times a month. How about take one of those and go out and coach so just kind of take that on. He's worked hard for a new coaching form. We'll now publish and send out to all your pertinent RDOs, referee coach, and it'll go to like a saved form. So your RDOs will know that. That link is here, similar to our old one. Go through it. Our match level that is called alpha. It's what you need. As when you level 1, you're level 2. It's like 4 things we want you to work on. You show competencies on those 4 things, and then we'll move you up to level 9. And there's 5 things. It's really simple. What's the signal talk, foul play, stuff like that. And then it just is all the way up to level 6. So that's in that document. That link to see what coaching for is just to write down and try. These are just kind of forms you can use. For all the level and referees, there's about 15 to 16 that I'm going to ask you once a season, go to a and go help coach have a presence. So we're going to kind of figure basically between Mike, myself, all the level 5s. That makes about 16. We have about a 3-month season. The math is wrong. That's about wrong. So some of you may not have to do that. Some will have to do it for a month. Just go to a jamboree, sign up. Those will circulate. Just figure out how. And as part of the NDGs, this is part of the give back, go referee at a lower level. That's it's tracked by USA Rugby. Okay. trying to get us to the food.
Size of that guy.
Katie, present this as part of our season match. We do use coaching form and also part of that, those forms kind of what the coaches are asking for is the game plan of what you're working on. So basically, if you take the things you're meant to be working on from the match level down, you take those goals and then we'll work them into a game plan. So we'll just go through this pretty quickly. Right? Basically, the higher level referee should have an individual performance plan. They have their game plan, which is working on the day, and then some deliberate practice of how to improve on the weekend. Part of your game plan and individual portfolio is, what does it look like for you in your life? What is your current reality? Right? What are things that have gone well? What are things that are not going well? What is preventing and limiting your focus on refereeing? Just a thin slice of what your life is like for this season. These are two examples. All right. What does success look like for you this year? So this is a good exercise. Most all the level 5, 6s, and 7s have done this or doing this in Advantage. This is a good exercise for you guys just to go and take a crack at it, and then get with your RDOs and say, hey, look, I've tried my hand at doing a game plan and doing a individual performance plan. What do you think? And then they'll give you some feedback. Some focus areas are like 3 or 4 things that you're trying to work on. Again, if you're a level 10, whistle signal talk, adjudicating foul play, setting a scrum, and then running lines and positioning, right? Those are the 4 things. I think that's what they were. And I haven't memorized. Those are your focus areas. When you're level 9, it's space at restarts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those should be your focus areas. All right? So your focus area. Let's just take whistle signal talk. I want to, at a stoppage, blow my whistle and show the first signal 100% of the time, 20% of the time, first 5 minutes. I want to be consistent at it. I don't want to whistle, you did this, you did that, therefore it's a scrum. I want to nail whistle signal talk, or I want to have my scrum set up, or whatever. This is what I'm going to do during the match. To kind of provide that, I'm gonna have 20% success rate, 40% success rate. I'm gonna do it for 10 minutes. I'm gonna do it for the first 3 penalties, and then those are my measurables too of how to track that. So it gives the coaches something to watch instead of just thin slicing your game and just watching your overall product, because the coaches need to know what you're working on so they can help you improve. Otherwise, we'll probably just watch your whole game and say, your advantage isn't good, your secondary signals aren't good, and your scrum, you had too many resets. Well, I'm not even working on those 3 things. So this is what I'm working on. So help us help you. All right. So here's an example of focus area for positioning. Right. Be in the right place, the right time to make the decision. Set getting caught running away from play. This referee is going to spend time with their coach to understand the pros and cons of some positions at the scrum, the line out, and the breakdown. This is also going to do 3 to 4 field sessions. They're going to find a referee doing prem matches that they're going to watch and try to emulate, and they go to a training 1 or 2 times a week or 1 or 2 times a month and just do ruck and run drill learning. All of our teams are happy to have referees at training. Trust me, we have a couple coaches here. I know Steve Gore would love to have a referee at training at East practices. And then for her feedback, she's going to watch her game and clip the time she got caught out of position or running away. All right. So game planning, what your game plan looks like during the day. in your match is your 2 to 3 focus areas you're working on. What's gonna trigger you to work on those processes? So if you're working on scrum resets, I'm gonna focus on the loose head, make sure his elbow's up. I'm gonna make sure his shoulder's untacked or he's straight. I'm gonna go to the defensive loose side every time. This is the picture I want from them. All right, how are you gonna referee it? If I see the referees or the loose head's elbows down, I'm gonna immediately blow it up and reset it, or I'm gonna, if it does go down on that loose head, I'm gonna free kick him. All right. Things that should not be in your game plan are stuff that you were told from a coach last week that's not relevant to what you're working on. So your penalty advantage is not good, Mark. I'm sorry you're having a struggle time with that. Well, Don, I'm sorry I wasn't even working on that. I'm trying to work on scrum advantage for the day. So just don't put things that you were given prior to the week coach that's not pertinent to what you're working on for your goals. All right. We don't need it's a calm day. The Denver Barbarians played elegant, flowing champagne rugby, and versus Queen City, who had an excellent fly half. None of that stuff matters for us. What are you working on? How can we get you better?
Wait a minute.
We're not going to do the breakout sessions because in lieu of time, but we are going to present this out to you. I took a bigger bite than I wanted to. Here's some examples of some game plans. Again, this will all be sent out tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay, so that was really rushed, and I apologize for that. I had some technical difficulties, but again, we do have people in place. We have coaches, we have RDOs, we have 2 RDOs from whichever position for new ref. Katie has also worked hard to put together all the referees into a certain pod based on your area, which I will show you now. But I did want to introduce that for the new ref RDOs. Craig Gielsen, the nickname is Freon, and Brendan Krafasi are going to take on the new ref RDOs. Their email, if you ever need to reach them. So all the level 9s and level 10s, those are the most important people in our organization, level 9s and level 10s. If you need to get a hold of Craig and Freon, that's their email, newrefrdo@Rocky Mountain. Brendan, we're still looking for someone to help Brendan. So if anyone wants to raise your hand, Chris O'Malley. You can reach Brendan at RDO, Rocky Mountain Rugby, and then Joe Burpo and Phil Schwan will be taking on level 5s and 6s. So Brendan will have 7s and 8s. Joe and Phil will take 5s and 6s. So that's essentially, give me 1 sec, Steve. That's essentially what, as a local referee organization, we're all responsible for. Once you get to level 5, you'll probably be headed up and you'll be taken care of nationally. So levels 4s, levels 3s, levels 2s, level 1s. Those are like top level USA Rugby, World Rugby refs. Steve, you had a question?
Rocky Mountain Rugby refs.
Yeah, it's the last one, sorry. Last one's right. And I messed up the timeline. So I do want to share the pods real quick. Just give me 1 second. Cadence pods. What was it? Sorry, I have way too many. I have tabs addiction. Now I have multiple windows and tabs addictions. Please eat some more food. Hmm? Today in the meeting? No. I don't think I. Yeah?
Or make that hard to support.
I have some plug to find. I'm trying to find the pods. Just have it up. Sorry about this. All right, well. Oops, so slow. There we go. Found it. Okay. Try and share this with everyone now. Stand by. Do that. Share screen. Referee pause. So essentially, if you don't see your name on here, we need to reach out to Katie and get you signed up into RefUp and get you signed up in the USA Rugby, get registered under dual roles. So Katie is kind of broken down geographically some of the pods. Here are the leaders of all the pods. There's a northern based and a southern based. These are Springs and Fort Collins. If you live in that area, it's Katie and Chris. And in the Springs, it's Noah, Phil, and Chris Brewer. Southwest Central Denver is Steve and Joe. And then Southwest, again, there's a lot of people living in Southwest. It's also Brendan and Paul. The main urbanites are myself and Chris, and then Mike Lawrenson and Angelo Bruno and Dale Bruno will take this on. This list will be sent out. It's in the links. I love hyperlinks, so you'll get a bunch of emails with a bunch of hyperlinks right now. So essentially, like for those in this central pod, we have to adjust one of them. But Chris and I have started a WhatsApp group and asked everyone to join. So like, this is another resource of like, hey, I'm having trouble. I can't get a match. I can't get ref up. I'm not getting the right things, or I'm struggling with my IPP, or this happened in my match. Can you help me out through this? Or there's a video, I saw this in this game. Can you help me out with that? It's another resource for like Chris and I to take on all the referees and help them out and get them moving through their development, right? This coach said to me, hey, I should be focusing on reflexive advantage. I don't even know what that means. Let's figure it out together, right? That kind of stuff. So we do now have like a bucket for all of you to jump into with some mentors, and then hopefully they'll, create some sort of list that you guys can chat with or some sort of resource. Okay. That's what Katie's been working on. Get back to share screen. Back to all right. Now, sorry. Okay. Yep.
So just to reiterate Mark's saying, this year we're really focusing on the coaching aspect of it. So we created a new coaching report, right? That is a little easier. So you'll get a copy of your coaching report every time you get coached. Your RDO, that's going to be the person who's going to read your reports and promote you or not promote. The mentors in these pod groups, there's mentors for help. They don't have no influence on getting you up and down levels. That's going to be your RDO part of that. But you're just leaning on your mentor for. If you're not feel like you're not getting enough coaching, that's when you speak to your audience. You can help facilitate getting coaching. And then you see more coaching reports that are looking good, more chance to get promoted. You're going to any coaching reports, you're going to audio and you have to do things better. So make sure you're reaching out, make sure you're jumping into the group chats with pods, and you're getting
that working?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Few things. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I want to make a few points that we need to have very clear to everybody. And that is, first, I have to tell you what a difference computers make. When I started off refereeing many years ago, we didn't have this modern technology that we have now. And basically, we just chatted amongst ourselves at the University of Denver. Okay. At this point, if we get a report that isn't enough, hasn't got enough information in it, we ask for more. That doesn't occur very often because most people have a very clear idea of what went wrong and how they want to describe it. Okay. 2, if we get sufficient information and we're not sure as to how we're going to rule, we always ask the player and or his team, because sometimes we don't have any information from the player as to how to contact him. All we have is the team reference. And by the way, not a bad idea to get a SIP number from people before the game. Make sure that they're SIP qualified, because we
Martin,
at
I
Aspen,
think that'll be done through Rogue Explorer.
yeah, but at Aspen at last.
Yeah, but yep. Aspen's now going to be sanctioned.
Oh, good. Okay. They didn't provide any SIP numbers and they were basically a rogue team.
SIP number is your old, going back 3 or 4 generations of USA Rugby, what they used to call certificate of insurance and participation or registration. Now it's your registration number for USA Rugby.
Yeah, your
membership number.
but now it's all done through Rugby Explorer.
Okay. Well, if we get sufficient information to rule, we don't do so until we've got enough information or an explanation from the player and or his team. Frankly, we prefer something both from the player and the team to what happened and why he did what he did and why he should or should not be sanctioned. And that takes time. Essentially, we rule, well, we suspend the player. Basically, immediately, we get a report of foul play. Not a yellow card, but a red card. We'll suspend the player at that time and hopefully, and he's properly registered so that we can have an email address for him, because we want an email address for him as well as from the club. Okay, it's usually, for example, for as far as time that we spend to rule, we'll do it within 3 weeks, which is the normal time of the suspension. Often, because the club answers us as the player and the player answers us speedily, we'll do it within a couple of weeks. We then, looking at the match incident report form, everything's on the computer these days. Okay, you guys, you've seen it. The match incident report form. Couple of things to keep in mind. First, as I said before, I want the SIP number of the player concerned. We want the facts of the foul play, not your opinion. Your opinion is valued, but you've got to say what you think happened. And because often what you see has happened is different from what the player comes and tells us, or puts it on a video and tells us, because your perspective is often different from the player's perspective. So it's important that we get your perspective. Tell us when in the game the incident occurred. If it's in the 75th minute and everyone's tired and stupid, that's the time when perhaps we might cut the guy some break. But if it's in the first 5 minutes Different matter. I recall a long time ago, before we had all these organizational things in play, I refereed a match, and 10 minutes into the match, they all fighting, the whole bunch. It was like a melee. And I said to Jerry Van Valkenburg after the match, what the hell happened? Because we quietened everything down and everybody played on quite happily. He said, oh, I don't know. He said, his wife probably didn't turn it up last night or something, but it was just a complete mess. And there was no rhyme or reason to it. And I think basically, I think that players are more disciplined these days than they were 30, 40 years ago, because they know what to expect. They know the referees are properly trained, and they're used to having the referees set and expect a standard from the players that they're expecting the players to keep. One thing we don't have in the, as I said, just an incident report, you've got to be clear about when it was in the game. Just tell us that. Don't talk about the red team and the blue team. A couple of years ago, we had a report where the teams were not identified by which team was the aggressor and which team were the, you could say, were the good guys and which were the bad guys. And it was, we had to ask, you send somebody off. What team was he off? Because just saying he was on the red team is useless if you've got the two teams named, and sometimes some of them wear a little mixture of red and blue, whatever. So make sure that you have the team named. Don't say the red team, say such and such a team. Of course, you know, with Zevon here, I think we can always say is probably a Queen City man who's the aggressor. But what the heck?
Lucas, you gonna take that?
I might have to.
If he doesn't, then.
Um,
It's kind
What they say in the incident report is a really very good report, except it's I added in. Oh, add in the more detail, the better. Give us an idea of the tenor of the game, what the game was like. Sometimes people get frustrated because there's a team or a member of one team is niggling all the time. You know, the sort of guy who sort of has an occasional punch and he lifts the knee at the wrong time so as to cause a little bit of incapacitation. Just tell us what the tenor of the game is like. Or did this come out of the blue? As I had, you know, as I said, some many years ago, suddenly the teams started to wail on each other. There's often something out there that has caused this particular problem. And it's not a bad idea, by the way, when you're having a chat with your touch judges at the beginning, before the game, okay? We've talked about that. Talk to your touch judges, make sure that they report to you if there's a problem that they see arising, because you're focused upon the players in immediate proximity to the ball, but they look around and literally see somebody lurking in somewhere in the backs, who's playing a bit of a extracurricular activity, one you could call it. Just remember that talk to your touch judges, they will give you an idea of the tenor of the game. Basically, the more information we get, the better. Right, Mark.
Good stuff. Short, concise, pertinent information. We have a lot of this out there. Jim Russell is an excellent disciplinary JO, and he can help us write it too. But just the facts, clear, concise. Don't need a long soliloquy. Just make sure we get the teams and numbers of players identified. Have a chat with your team of three if there is something that goes above a yellow card and a red card, and let's get those reports in a timely manner so Martin can make a ruling.
Yep.
Brendan?
Is this strictly only for like red card foul play stuff? Or are we talking about like coach
like verbal abuse to a rep or like a
Yeah,
player
misconduct.
abuse to
Yeah.
afterwards or.
Reg 17 stuff too.
Yeah.
So if you are abused or from coach, huh? Double yellow is a red. Yeah, Joe?
Are you taking teams' reviews of, they reviewed the tape on the next day and they want to go to citation?
That is an Anthony Fisher question. What is your citation process?
Like, cause I just wanted, like, if somebody's like, hey, yeah, you missed that behind you and I can't
You-
issue a red card on the day, I say, hey, you guys have video.
Usually there's a 24-hour report fee for anything on a citation. And that, from what I,
Citation would be reported to the disciplinary committee.
So they would have to just email you.
so if team A pick up something with team B can send that footage to the disciplinary committee and say, this is the thing. They can also send it to me or our RDOs and say, this is an opportunity a referee could learn from, that they missed obviously a punch, a stamp, a bite, meteor falling out of the sky, whatever. And then we use that for development, but that's not your responsibility. Sometimes it's a hard job. There's 30 people out there. It's hard to catch someone biting or eye gouge or inappropriate touching.
Yeah, and there's a time limit too, right? 72 hours to get all that stuff in.
So you do want to cite, they do want to cite 72 hours.
Direction to point.
Okay, any questions? Great, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Now, all level 9s and 10s, please stand up.
What?
Level 9s and 10s. You get 3 things from the magic den of happy kit. Some of these are full, complete. So we want to get rid of them.
What'd you throw up there?
No, have a fix, have a fix. Yeah. For everyone else on the meeting, we're done to our meeting. We're gonna have a little bit of a social drink and try on each other's clothing. So thank you for joining us. We'll send the recording out because there's a lot of information. We're gonna send out the links to all those forums. Thank you, everyone. Be safe, and I'll see you on the pictures.
Yeah, I want to.